Hi, welcome back to another video on Rise. That is my custom tabletop RPG that I've been working on for a long time now, and that I wanted to share with you guys. This is going to be their last video on how to make a character series. After that, we're going to be branching into some other topics. I want to talk about magic in the next video. Not Magic the Gathering, obviously, but magic in my system, spells, and how you cast magic, things like that. I currently have about 200 spells in Rise currently, and constantly adding more. So that's coming up, as well as some actions, conviction points, which I've talked about briefly a few times, and targeting in coming videos. But today we're going to be finishing up this creating a character series. The final video today is not going to be a lot because it's mostly just these bottom four here, which the first one, determining a name, that is not really something I've implemented a means for you to be able to do through Rise. That's sort of something on your own that you would come up with. But obviously, you could pull things from inspiration. You could, I played this video game and the main character's name was Lloyd or something. So, I'll go with my character's name is Lloyd. Or, my friend's name is this, or I'll pick that, or I just made up a name or something like that. So a name sets up to you whatever you want to do. Selecting a character archetype. I do, however, have a whole section on archetypes, which we're going to be looking at. And I really strongly believe it's very important to come up with a distinct personality for your character. When you're playing a tabletop RPG, I think it's important to distinguish who you are from who your character is. That way, when you're playing maybe with a group of friends and, that your friend's character does something that you don't like, or it doesn't align with what your character wants, it's more of, my character didn't like what your character did, as opposed to I don't like what you did. So it really helps you, bring yourself back, take a step back, and make sure you don't get your emotions too tangled up into things and, have grudges against people that you otherwise wouldn't. So I think it's important to have a character, with a distinct personality. You don't actually have to come up with an accent or role play unless you really want to. I personally do, and I prefer it. It helps me a lot. But I did come up with a list of, I think there are 16 character archetypes. They're actually based off the Myers-Briggs personality tests. Believe what you want about personality tests, whether they're realistic or not, but I think it can be helpful when you're role-playing a character to try to fit into a personality type. You can choose one that's similar to your own personality type, that's fine. But the closer you get to, your own personal, how you are, the harder it's going to be to differentiate yourself from your character. So we'll just go through a couple of these. So I've got the first two that I've just named. The names don't really matter too much. It's just to help you visualize what, kind of that personality is like. So I've got here, for example, the detective. So these are thoughtful tacticians that love perfecting the details of life, applying creativity and rationality to everything they do. Their inner world is often a private, complex one. These personalities can be both the boldest of dreamers and the bitterest of pessimists. Strategists believe that through willpower and intelligence, they can achieve even the most challenging of goals. Sounds great, right? It's a very specific type of personality. So that if you move over, we can see some of their strengths. The strengths of the detective, that they are rational, curious, determined, and independent. Some of their weaknesses. Again, just having these things helps you visualize and play out a character. They're arrogant. They can be dismissive of emotions and overly critical. Some of their desires are a thirst for knowledge. I came up with a motto for each of these. The motto for the detective would be to question everything. And then I added some examples that might be from popular culture that might help you play out this character. So Belle from Beauty and the Beast, Severus Snape from Harry Potter, and Bruce Wayne from Batman. These are just some examples. So that was the detective of the archetypes. Again, I've got a bunch of these archetypes: defender and consul. I've got optimist, adventure, initiator, all these things here. So back to, we're almost done here. So it's number 9, what relationships does your character have? Again, important, especially if you're playing a tabletop RPG, you're probably playing with friends. You want to determine before you create your character, how do I know these other people? Maybe that's up to you. Maybe that your game master will tell you, the person who's running the game, but it can be very helpful, especially if you're like, I decided to play as a human and my friend decided to play as a human. Maybe we actually knew each other in childhood, or maybe, I could even be siblings with them. Or how do I know this person? Oh, we served together in the military. Oh, that guy, we were in prison together, right? Whatever you want to do, how do you know these people? Why should you trust them upon first playing the game? It's really important to not just say, oh, we're all going to start out as strangers, because it's hard to trust a stranger, but it's easy to play with and trust people that you already know. So come up with relationships, not only relationships with the other player characters, but do you have a family? Is there a loved one out there? Do you have people that you know, non-player characters, that the GM can introduce into the campaign to add drama and buy-in, reason why you should care? Maybe someone that you know, a family member was killed by this bad guy. Now you have a reason to want to be involved there. So it's important to come up with relationships. And then finally, number 10, to find or draw a picture to represent your character. This one is, I think, relatively easy, and you're like, oh, why do I need that? Well, there could be a lot of reasons. Number one, it just helps you visualize. Number two, you can show that to your GM. You can show that to the other players, and they're like, oh, that's what you look like. That's about, I understand. I know you now. It's hard to know somebody when you don't know what they look like. So I actually have some examples of pictures that my wife came up with. I'm going to show you all of them. She gave me these to show you. I asked her if I could say that they were, she made them, and she didn't actually give me an answer, so I'll tell you now. She's the one that made these. So this one right here, so maybe you're like, oh, sometimes it's really good to even start with a picture, right? That first thing I mentioned, number one, determine your character concept. What sort of character do you want to play as? Sometimes you can even start with number 10 with a picture. Right? You're like, oh, this guy looks so cool. What do I know about this guy? Well, he doesn't seem to be dressed in a lot of armor. He seems confident. He's got this light behind him. He's wearing a shackle. Maybe he used to be a prisoner. Oh, look at this cool sword. It reminds me of like a gladiator or something. So that could be a cool character concept to go off of. I've got more here. I've got this woman. Oh man, look at this like lightning bolts. And we've got these like interesting glasses, very regal atmosphere going on. We have this lady knight here who seems to be, kneeling before somebody. There's another relationship that could be tied in. Oh, like I serve my liege, my lord, something like that. We've got this one here, the darkness coming off them, very like shadowy, dark, seem to be urban, grew up maybe in the city, thief maybe, or pickpocket. We've got this. Whoa, where do these wings come from? Is that spells? Is that magic? Is that some divine power? This sword, it's glowing. So you get the picture, right? You can come up with these really cool concepts, and using them, not only can they convey what your character looks like, but it helps convey emotion and desire and other important things. Like this one here, like, oh my gosh, you would be able to tell this character probably isn't like bouncing off the walls full of energy, but they're this like, very stoic. They've probably got lots of thoughts that are deep and intriguing, that seems to be they're served in some kind of military capacity. Very cool to come up with pictures. So that's pretty much it for this video today. We're basically done with our Creating a Character series. Again, thank you so much for watching. This is Rise, and again, coming up, we've got spells. Our next video is going to be on spells. Like I said, there's like 200 of them. Here's a sneak peek. Oh my gosh, look at all these spells. Wow, so many spells. Okay, so those are all my spells. We'll be talking about magic next time. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, click the like button. It helps me, and also it helps bring other people in. If you have a certain character or thing that you want to talk about or learn about in the future, please let me know in the comments down below. The next 2 videos, like I said, are going to be magic, and then like some of the actions and this targeting and conviction stuff. And then starting next week on Monday, my goal is to release the first video of actually making some characters and presenting them to you. I've just been working on trying to have like a really good way of visually giving you that information without just like a splurge of text and stuff. So that's the goal. That's what I wanted to be coming up with soon. So again, if you want to see more of these videos, please hit the subscribe button. Otherwise, this is Rise, and I'm Alex. Thanks you guys so much for watching. Bye-bye.